You guys having a good time?
Hi, I'm Adam from notatourist.sg, and I'm here today with a very special guest on his first ever trip to Singapore. He's the ex-frontman of the alternative band Live, and now he's enjoying a very successful solo career. Please welcome Mr. Ed Kowalcyzk. Ed, welcome to Singapore.
Thank you, sir.
You've been here just a couple of hours, so how do you find it so far?
I love it. It's hot and humid. It's a lot different than where I live, and I like it.
What took you so long? A lot of fans here waiting since back in the early 90s.
That's a good question. You know, I guess just logistically, you know, it just never came together in a way that could work, you know, with the schedules, and I know it was always on my mind, you know, getting to Asia. I mean, in fact, my first trip to Southeast Asia ever was last year to Jakarta. So, I mean, the whole career of Live we've never been. You know, I'll just say better late than never.
A lot of fans would like to hear the classics and also your new material. How long do you plan to play tonight?
Well, this particular show, I call it I Alone Acoustic because it's not me alone exactly. It's me playing acoustic guitar and singing songs, of course, and my friend Rami Antoon playing drums. And not on the whole set, but we kind of go back and forth between the two. And this particular show, I played in Mexico City the other night for the first time with this particular setup, and it was 95 minutes or so, and I play, you know, all the hits of my work in Live, like I Alone, Lightning Crashes, you know, the songs, and of course a couple from my new record, and then even a brand new one that I've been working on for my second solo album, which will be coming out early next year, EP this year in the summer. So yeah, it's a good show. A lot of people like it because they get to hear the whole, just, you know, parts of my discography as an artist, you know, all the way back to 1991 and 2, all the way to now.
You guys played Woodstock, those big shows where like thousands and thousands of people. Nowadays you're doing more like intimate acoustic gigs. What's the difference, and what kind of like, especially for this kind of a venue, what's the feel like?
Well, I love playing the smaller venues, especially with the acoustic show, because it's a real intimacy to it that, you know, you don't get with the big production and the big stages and the big crowds. What I love about my career right now as a solo artist is that I do everything from, you know, this type of venue all the way to big festivals in Europe, like I'm doing, you know, Boss Pop in Holland this summer, amongst other festivals. So I get to kind of do it all now, whereas before I was kind of locked into a certain, you know, routine of doing the same kind of venues over and over again. Now, as a solo artist, I really get to have a lot of fun because I'm you know, I never, it's sort of from week to week, it could be, you know, 10,000 people or 500 people or 200 people or 2,000 people, and it's different venues in different cities, so it's a lot of fun.
If you have to pick one song from somebody else, what song would that be? Your favorite song of all time?
I would have to say my favorite song of all time is probably Where the Streets Have No Name by U2. They were my first concert when I was 17, back in 1987, and they started the show with that song, and I've always just been a huge fan of it.
Okay, so our site is called notatourist.sg. It's actually for expats, by expats as well, who feel that they're not a tourist here in Singapore. For someone who's been traveling a lot like you, are there any cities or countries that you don't feel like a tourist, or is it like you're a tourist everywhere else?
You know, I like to think that I get under the skin of everywhere I go as an artist, especially over the years of going to multiple cities many times. I feel like kind of cool because I feel like I fit into just about every city, especially if I've been there multiple times. I've had people come up to me in Melbourne, Australia, and ask, you know, assume I'm Australian, or in Holland, like assume I'm Dutch. Maybe it's my nose, I don't know. But I guess I try to integrate into everywhere I go. I mean, I probably feel more like a tourist here now in Singapore because I've only been in Asia twice. So I feel like I'm kind of like, you know, trying to get the feel and get the vibe. But generally speaking, I think due to the fact that I've traveled so much, I feel pretty at home everywhere I go.
You mentioned that the song The Distance from your own catalog is your favorite song of all time. There are different interpretations by different people. For you personally, what does it mean?
For me, the song "The Distance" is about. Well, I wrote it primarily to communicate an idea about the now, the present moment. You know, that something as mundane as driving a car could become a church moment, a spiritual awakening, and you get a feeling about life that it transcends the fact that you're doing something totally normal that you do all the time. So I wanted to the whole record to the distance to here, meaning that it's kind of a koan. There is no distance to here. You're here. You're already. Everything is happening in the present moment, and everything important anyway. And that's what the song's about for me.
You're a pretty spiritual person, and you have a way with words as well. You plan on writing a book, or are you writing one right now?
That's a good question. I've been asked it a lot of times over the years, and I have to say I still, for me, lyrics are writing. That's my writing. They always go with music. They're always with melody. I don't really ever separate, the two. For me, poetry's lyricism. It's not like I mean, even though I can read my lyrics back and say, oh, that reads nice. I still feel like they're a song. I guess in my brain I can't separate the two. Maybe someday though, I would. It's a challenge I'd like to take up. It seems kind of daunting when I think about it. Like, wow, what if I actually sat down to write something? But maybe that's all in my head, so I should just try and see what happens.
Can you tell us 5 things that make you feel alive?
Well, first of all, music, playing, performing, like this show that I'm going to do tonight, which is my acoustic show. It's amazing because for me, for years having a full band behind me, to be able to do the entire show myself and to be the rhythm, the guitar, the singing, the everything is, well, even though I have my drummer with me tonight for some songs, but it's really challenging, and that makes me feel alive. I'm a big fan of coffee, so a great shot of espresso will make me feel alive in many levels. My kids, for sure. I mean, being a dad, spending time with my daughters makes me feel pretty darn alive. I like to. I've just been deep sea fishing not too long ago, which I love to do, and something about getting that fish on there and you're struggling getting them up there. It's a pretty great feeling. What else? He's holding the camera. I'm actually a fledgling amateur photographer from time to time when I'm not working on music. So I feel pretty alive when I snap a picture that captures an emotion and conveys, a feeling that I'm having about life. And so, is that 5? I think that's 5.
Yeah, that's 5. Right. Thank you so much for joining us.
Appreciate it.
More so for coming down to our little island and performing. Hope you have a great stay here, a great show, and more. Hope you can come back real soon.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Thank you. Kowalcyzk, ladies and gentlemen.